Okay, so we're going to be hitting the road full time shortly, and we're going to try and overcome a problem that we have with our toilet inside the van. Every time you open the flap, you do get that smell coming back up into the van. So we're going to fit one of these SOG kits so that when you open the flap in the toilet, a little fan comes on, sucks all of the stink out, goes out through a carbon filter that's mounted on the door. No more smells inside. So let's see if we can overcome it. So the kit comes with everything that you need to fit it. Obviously this is the little fan that sucks it out here. That gets mounted on the inside of the cassette hatch door and sucks it out through this carbon filter which is mounted inside this housing. So hopefully it makes a big difference. It comes with detailed instructions. There's a lot of different languages in there, all the way from German obviously, because this is where it comes from, right through to English. But you can see there, quite a number of languages included with it. I decided to fit the extraction fan housing on the right hand side of my canister door. I did that so that the hose has a nice track to where it fits into the lid up in here. So when you close the door, just fit the hose in there and it just buttons up nice and snug really easily. With the housing fitted up, the carbon filters are just quite easy to install. They just push straight in. They're quite a soft material. You'll notice at the top of the filter here, I just used my 35mm hole saw and I just hole sawed that to clear the fan. I can't see any other way of doing it. It protrudes past the door, so you've got to have some sort of clearance on that fan. That's just what I did to make it work. The housing covers just clip on at the top, and you button them up down the bottom here with two screws. The kit calls for a 35mm hole saw that goes into the cap up here, so that you can fit the grommet and the plastic bushing that goes in there. It calls for a 36mm hole saw for this fan. Now I take it that's just a manufacturing thing, that they can't find a similar size for both. So I bought one of these cheap hole saw kits from Bunnings. It was like 20 bucks. It's only got the 35mm in it. So when I hole sawed this one to go through, I then had to just file out around that hole to fit this fan through. It's not a lot, but you still do need to open that hole up a little bit so that it will fit. When you go to fit this micro switch in here, I found, well, it comes standard with a like a self-adhesive backing to it, so you can peel the backing off and you can sort of move it around gently to get it into position when you're activating your gate. So I've got it fairly close to the back of that gate there so it doesn't foul when it's opened all the way up. I didn't screw this off until I'd finished wiring everything in, because I did not want to have to try and move this around and have holes in my cassette housing. So that's a little hint there, and you do have to have that screw in, otherwise it will just fall off when it gets hot. Routing the micro switch harness was relatively simple. I just tucked it back up in here, put it in behind this water line here in the clip. It fits nicely there. Came down, bit of a zippy on there to hold it there, and then looped it back so that you can splice in. Ran it down the outside of here, down the door, and as you can see here, it comes with these little stick-on zip tie holders. I'm not sure how long they're going to last. I don't reckon they'll last very long at all. And I actually had to shorten this cable length here to suit, and then just joined it up to the fan. When I went to wire the fan in and the micro switch, I noticed that when I pulled the conduit back, there's two very distinct bundles of wires. So it says to get it to tap into your positive and negative in here, but it doesn't actually say what. Now you can see here in this bundle, there's a black, there's a red, there's a black, there's a black. So I assume that they are negative. It's like 3 negatives and a positive there, but I'm not sure. Whereas in this bundle, there's only one very distinct red and black, so I tapped into that one there and it works fine. So I'm not sure whether all vans are like that, but this is what mine's like. So I just used my common sense and went with this one here, and it works fine. One of the first issues that I ran into when installing the SOG kit was that I found that the suction fan is actually too long and it protrudes through the canister door too far for it to fit into the housing on the outside. What I've done is I made up a spacer. So that spacer is 60mm OD, 36mm ID, and 15mm thick. So that spaces this out far enough that it doesn't foul in the housing on the other side of the door. The screws that came with the kit obviously are not long enough now, so I've used these screws that I got from Mitre 10. They're an 8G by 30mm. They're a sheet metal type screw, so they're a self-tapper, and they're stainless steel 304, so they won't rust. Now that fits nice and snug in there and it doesn't foul. The process of removing the cassette hasn't really been hindered too much by all of this that's now connected. You just undo the hose, you can take the bung off, put the bung in your lid there. I just sit my hose back down in here so it's not dragging on the ground. You lift the cassette out. Now you can go to the dump point, empty your cassette, come back, put it back in, take the bung out, grab your hose, just put the bung back over the hose there so it doesn't get lost, put it back in the lid, fold it all back up, close it up, done. These covers do come in 3 different colours. You can get them in white, you can get them in grey, or you can get them in black. I actually think you can get them in light grey and dark grey, but don't quote me to that. This is a dark grey one. I did want to get a black one, but black was so scarce I couldn't find one. It kind of matches our van anyway. We've got grey upper. You can paint them, I do believe. I think it says somewhere there you can paint them if you want to, but I'm just going to leave it dark grey. I don't think it looks too bad. Anyway, the kit's fully installed now. So there you have it, fully installed, the SOG kit. It was really straightforward. The instructions were quite easy to follow. I actually think anyone that can do basic DIY will be able to achieve installing this kit with relative ease. Just make sure you have all of your tools handy. Like I said, you will need your 35mm hole saw. If you've got a 36, get a 36 as well, but you can just file that 35 out to 36 to fit your fan in. That's not a big deal. Make sure you've got the silicone handy, that you can silicone up around your fan and make sure that no moisture gets past that. Anyway, safe travel guys. Thanks for watching.